In international news, North Korean state media on Thursday released the first confirmed video of Kim Jong-un, the youngest son of leader Kim Jong-il and their parent of the unimpeached nuclear-armed state.
State television broadcast video of the party meeting held on Tuesday, including images of Kim Jong-un, who was positioned on the front row during a speech and shown vigorously clapping with other delegates at the meeting of Workers' Party officials, the biggest political gathering in 30 years to elect new leaders. North Korean authorities confirmed to television news agency APTN in Pyongyang that the man in black suit seated second from the right in the front row is Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-il's sister, Kyung-hoo, 64, was seated in the same row. Kyung-hoo has recently gained a new post as a member of the Central Committee's Political Bureau and retained her position as a department director on the Central Committee. A photo of senior Workers' Party officials also appeared on the front page on Thursday of the authoritarian regime's main Rodong Sinmun newspaper, 2 days after the party concluded its biggest political gathering in 30 years to elect new leaders. An article listed the names of those in the picture, which was taken outside the Kun Susan Memorial Palace, where the embalmed body of the country's founder, Kim Il-sung, lies in the state. The still and video images confirmed what many analysts suspected for the past 2 years, that Kim Jong-un, believed to be in his 20s, has been anointed to succeed his father and carry the family's rule into a third generation. In both the video and the picture, Kim Jong-un bears a resemblance to both his father and grandfather, Kim Il-sung. Similar photos were carried on inside pages of the newspaper. The release of the photos comes after the younger Kim was handed top military and party posts at the Workers' Party conference earlier this week. The official Korean Central News Agency announced on Tuesday that Kim Jong-un had been promoted to a 4-star general in the Korean People's Army, the first mention of his name in the country's tightly controlled media. State media have yet to offer any description or biographical information about Kim Jong-un or even to refer to him as the leader's son. The younger Kim has 2 older brothers, Kim Jong-nam and Kim Jong-chol, who appear to have lost out in the succession scenario. In addition to his military title, he was made a member of the organization's governing Central Committee and was also named to its military commission.
Eurogroup ministers arriving for a meeting in Brussels on Thursday welcomed new proposals agreed by the European Commission to slap new penalties on countries that let their budget spiral out of control. The new proposals have been designed to avoid another crisis like the one that pushed Greece to near bankruptcy and raised fears about the euro currency itself. Eurogroup President Jean-Claude Juncker said the proposals were moving in the right direction, but more clarity was needed to be threshed out. Arriving for the talks, European Union Monetary Affairs Commissioner Olli Rehn also commented on the Irish government's handling of its ballooning deficit and austerity measures to tackle the problem. French Finance Minister Christine Lagarde said it was an excellent idea in principle to reinforce the Stability and Growth Pact to include the debt in a certain manner. Ireland's government announced plans to take majority control of allied Irish banks and bump billion euros more into 2 smaller banks, driving the deficit to record levels following the latest economic figures. The government already in the bank's biggest shareholders following previous rounds of aid. Allied Irish shares plunged more than 20% on the news. Prosecutor planned to give Osama bin Laden a leading role in the trial of the first Guantanamo Bay detainee to be tried in civilian court, a test case in the debate over whether suspects in the war against terror can be prosecuted like anyone else. Jury selection began in New York on Wednesday when 53 prospective jurors were introduced to the defendant Ahmad Halfan Khailani, who has been described by federal authorities as a bomb maker, documents forger and former bin Laden's aide. He is charged with conspiring to kill Americans in the 1998 bombings of 2 U.S. embassies in Africa. The attacks killed 224 people, including a dozen Americans, and were widely viewed as a precursor to the September 11, 2001 terror attacks. The trial will be closely watched by those debating the feasibility of civilian trials of high-profile Guantanamo detainees arrested around the world. Some were subjected to harsh interrogations at secret CIA-run camps where the gathering of trial evidence yielded to an immediate need to unearth terror threats. The government plans to use bin Laden's words, including a television interview in which he said U.S. civilians were targets of his holy war against the West, as evidenced in Gilani's trial. Gilani was arrested in Pakistan in 2004 in connection with the Tanzania and Kenya bombings and taken to a secret CIA-run camps overseas. Pakistan blocked a vital supply route for U.S. and NATO troops in Afghanistan on Thursday in apparent retaliation for an alleged cross-border helicopter strike by the coalition that killed 3 Pakistani frontier troops. The blockade appeared to be a major escalation in tensions between Pakistan and the United States. A Pakistani army statement said Thursday's airstrike targeted a checkpoint 650 feet inside Pakistan in the Upper Kurram tribal area, where 6 soldiers of the paramilitary Frontier Corps were stationed. The Pakistani troops fired warning shots at the 2 helicopters, which responded with a pair of missiles that destroyed the post, killed 3 of the soldiers and wounded the other 3. The statement was cautiously worded, saying the choppers appeared to have crossed the border. The bodies of the 3 dead men were taken to Parachina, the region's largest town, one security official said. India sent hundreds of thousands of troops into the streets on Thursday as it braced itself for a potential eruption of violence ahead of a court decision on whether Hindus or Muslims should control a disputed holy site. The conflict over the compound in the town of Ayodhya, 350 miles east of New Delhi, has sparked communal riots that killed thousands of people and challenged India's ethos as a secular, multicultural democracy. New Delhi was hoping to prevent a new round of violence when the Lucknow bench of Allahabad High Court issues its verdict on Thursday afternoon in the 60-year-old case over who rightfully controls the site. Outside the court on Thursday, there was a huge security presence of armed troops and barricades had been built to prevent access. Police arrested more than 10,000 people to prevent them from inciting violence, while another 100,000 had to sign affidavits saying they would not cause trouble after the verdict, a top official said. North and South Korea began their first working-level military talks in 2 years on Thursday, Seoul's defense ministry says. Officers from the 2 sides met in the truce village of Panmunjom in the demilitarized zone that divides the peninsula, the ministry said. They last held such talks in October 2008. Meanwhile, during a news briefing on Thursday, South Korea's foreign ministry spokesman Kim Young-sun criticized the comments made by North Korean Vice Foreign Minister. At the United Nations, North Korea's Vice Foreign Minister Park Kil-yeon said that Pyongyang would continue to expand its nuclear arsenal in order to deter what it perceives as American and South Korean aggression in the region. The North has routinely issued similar announcements. The latest one came after North Korea leader Kim Jong-il this week appointed his youngest son Kim Jong-un as a 4-star general and also gave him key political posts aimed at an eventual succession. And tonight in business news, more than 1,000 people have cancelled Japan Airlines seat reservations for flights between Japan and China in view of strained bilateral ties stemming from the arrest of the captain of a Chinese fishing boat on September 8 of the Senkaku Island and subsequent Chinese responses. The JL chief said Wednesday. Japan Airlines Co-President Masaru Onishi made the disclosure at a news conference, but JL may have to consider reducing the number of flights in the event the drop in demand proves to be prolonged. The Paris Auto Show opened on Thursday in a cautiously optimistic spirit after 2 years of the worst economic slowdown since the Great Depression, which sent car makers' production, sales and profits plummeting around the world. European car makers in Paris have put a display of fuel-efficient, low-emission models to weather a depressed market and tough new European Union (EU) polluted standards. Consumers remain cautious and environmental rules are more stringent, and the auto industry hopes hybrids and electric are expected to be a big part of the way forward. Renault and PSA Peugeot Citroën are presenting here road-ready hybrid and electric cars or light trucks to the hundreds of thousands of visitors expected to attend the show between October 2nd and October 17th. And tonight in sports, New Radiant will be facing VB in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. New Radiant secured their place in the semi-finals after beating AYL by 7-1 last night. Ahmad Tariq scored a hat-trick for New Radiant, while Fauzan Habib scored 2 goals. Ahmad Abdullah and Ali Nawaz scored the 2 goals for the New Radiant. The lone goal of AYL was scored with a penalty shoot by Abdullah Muhaimin at the last minute of the game. Defending champion Inter Milan, riding a hat-trick by Cameroon striker Samuel Eto'o, rode past Werder Bremen 4-0 in Milan on Wednesday, signaling that the Italian club will not easily relinquish its European Champions League title. Things were a little more difficult for 2 former champions with lofty aspirations in this year's tournament. Barcelona, the 2009 winner, travelled to Russia and was tied 1-1 by Rubin Kazan, the same team that defeated it in Spain last season and held it to a tie in Russia. Manchester City will be looking to build on their winning start to the Europa League when they entertain Juventus on Thursday evening. Roberto Mancini's sides locked horns with the Italian giants after overcoming Red Bull Salzburg 2-0 at home in their opening clash to go to top of Group A. Juve could only manage a point from their curtain raiser after being held 3-3 by Polish minnows Lech Poznan at the Stadio Olimpico. The two clubs' only previous meetings came in the first round of the 1976 to 1977 UEFA Cup, when Tony's Book City side won 1-0 at their Old Main Road Stadium but lost 2-0 in Turin, with Juve going on to win the tournament. City will be encouraged by the fact that the Italians have not won in 9 games in England, with their last triumph coming in the form of a 1-0 victory over the Blues' local rivals Manchester United in 1996.